Hey folks, hope you're doing well. This is a video I was hoping to not post, but as you can see by the title, yeah, I think Dead by Daylight is dead. And, I'm going to explain why I think that in this video, and why I'm not really going to be playing the game. Regarding the challenge, I'm sorry to announce this, but I'm not cancelling the killer challenge, but at the same time, I'm delaying it because of what I'm about to go into. Um, so recently we had a mid-chapter release that came out where 40 perks were changed. And as you saw in the video, the Let's Talk video, where I showed my reaction to basically the new prestige and progression system and what it did for me and the characters I had, I was super excited about it. I was super happy about it. And for the most part, I do think the mid-chapter release has been successful. Uh, However, it hasn't changed anything really in the game. Yes, your characters, playable characters are, your characters become playable much quicker now because you get more value from the blood points, I feel like, when you're spending them because basically when you unlock prestige survivors or a killer, you can get unlock the perks and other characters that you have as well. So the path to characters being playable is much quicker. But at the same time, nothing's really changed in the base kit of the game, which is the problem of the game. As people know, there was like 40 perks changed, and nothing was changed. Nothing's changed in the game. It's still, if survivors work well together and are efficient on the gens, they're going to win 10 out of 10 times. That's just the game. It's always been the game. I've talked about it a lot, and nothing has changed in that. And for me personally, I was looking for a big change in the next last mid chapter release because my thought process was this going into the mid chapter release, and I may have mentioned this beforehand on my YouTube. Basically, I was thinking to myself, okay, I've got Bill to Prestige free, and I've got all the perks in Bill, and I've got Spirit to Prestige free, and I've got all the perks in Spirit, and I have the Legendary Killer and the Legendary Survivor achievements, and I have all the Adept achievements for Survivor and Killer. So, as far as I care, I pretty much completed the game. But I was waiting for the mid-chapter release. I wanted to see what that was going to be, then I wanted to see how it translated in the game and how basically it played out from there. When I first saw the mid-chapter release, I thought, okay, I'll jump aboard. This could mix up the game. And there's no doubt the meta has changed. The two key things it seemed like the developers wanted to do was one, they wanted to make the grind and progression and all that easier, which they have done. Two, they wanted to shake up the meta, and they've certainly done that. So based on the goals that Behaviour had with the mid-chapter release, they have achieved it. It has been successful. However, it hasn't resolved the issues in the game at all. Because the biggest issue in this game is that it's just far too easy for survivors. As I said, survivors 10 out of 10 times are going to win if they're efficient on gens. And I know some people will say at base kit level some things have changed with the killer. And there's no doubt the last mid-chapter release is more killer sided than survivor sided. But really nothing has changed. The extra 10 seconds of gens aren't doing anything because basically people just use prove itself and toolboxes more. Also, the meta shake-up hasn't really changed anything at all. Some perks are being used now that weren't being used beforehand. Some perks that were being used aren't being used anymore. But nothing has changed in the game really. It's still a super survivor sided game. And what basically happens is killers get frustrated and then they start tunneling and camping. Also, actually, before we even get to that, right? Basically, with a killer right now, if I always talked about it, to get really good with a killer's power, you have to put time into that killer. So once you put the time into the killer and get really good with the killer, this is your reward. So you get sweatier survivors. That's your reward. It's always been the case since skill-based matchmaking came into the game. But basically, once you actually get good with a killer's power, you get rewarded with sweatier survivors and much tougher matches. and that's constantly every single match basically. That's your reward for actually getting really good with a killer. So yeah, every killer has a ceiling. The ceiling for some killers is higher than others because of generally this how good that killer is basically. Compared to others, like obviously Blight and Nurse are the two top killers, they can compete at a higher level of this game. But even they would probably struggle. Every match that they have is sweater as well. Killers like the Nightmare or Clown or Pig or something like that is always going to struggle. There's no two ways about that. And that's the game. I was looking for a shake up to that in the last mid chapter release, but apparently that is, well, not apparently, that hasn't happened. I'm actually wondering, I'm still wondering right now what the hell Felix was pointing at, by the way. I don't know what he was pointing at. Yeah, so basically for me, something like 40 perks and a big mid-chapter release, something like that, there should be some sort of change. Now, I know some people will say that killers have got faster, they can break pallets faster, they can break walls faster, they can kick generators faster, they can basically recover from hits faster. But there's still a bunch of maps with a bunch of pallets on it and a bunch of friendly, cyber friendly loops, and you still have 4v1, you still have you can pop 5 out of 7 gens really quickly if you work really well. Because I did one match today with Nightmare, basically for the killer challenge. I was going to play Nightmare, Pig and Clown today and do that episode. I played Nightmare, I got 0 kills because I got bad on preschool and I got survivors there. They're survivors who were very efficient in gens, and I mean they were essentially gen rushing, but without gen rushing, they were just really working gens together basically, and really did really well. And it's not their fault. And I made a couple of mistakes, I mind you. There, I made a mistake at the end game. Steve, funny enough, I'm playing Steve at the moment. But with Steve went to the exit and basically I split my focus basically because I had to come away from the hook. I had an end game there too. But they survivors played it really well. They were super efficient and did really well. They played the game exactly as they should do, basically. And I had no chance. I got 4 hooks in the game. I had no chance. And here's the thing: Nightmare is the killer that I probably have the highest MMR rating on because I put a lot of time into Nightmare from basically September right up to about the beginning of December from last year. Was it September or was it July? Might have been actually July, August, September. For a good portion of last year, basically right up to December, I was playing Nightmare. I stopped playing Nightmare because, quite frankly, the matches were just getting sweaty and sweaty and it was less fun. It just wasn't fun playing Nightmare anymore, and that's why I stopped playing Nightmare. And also, Nightmare just couldn't compete at that level, it seemed like. So, yeah, that's why I stopped playing Nightmare. And it's just frustrating to me that playing Nightmare today. Also, when I went into the pig match, I had pretty quick queue times today. I must admit, the queue times weren't bad, but here was the problem. I started recording the video for the pig match when I was in the lobby, and we went into the load screen for the match at a minute, and I was still sitting in the load screen at 10 minutes in the video. I don't know what happened, but I shut it down and basically gave up today. But since the last update, there's one problem where there has been a big problem, and it kind of makes the last mid-chapter release less of a success, and that is that the matchmaking incentives are pretty much screwed up the matchmaking system, it feels like, in the queue times, because killer queue times were long. The matchmaking incentive was broken, it's not going to be fixed as well for anytime soon, I think, as well, too. So overall, I'm just frustrated with the game, and I did play a lot of killer during what you call it, the 6-year anniversary, because I was getting a ton of blood points. Plus, I was using barbecue and chill because I knew that was going to get changed. So I played a lot of killer during that. In hindsight, it probably wasn't the best idea to start the killer challenge after that, but at the same time, I did commit to doing it, so I wanted to see it through. But I'm delaying that, and I'm quite frankly think this game is dead. I don't know if I'm explaining it very well and why I think it's dead, but here we go. Right. I know I've been talking for 10 minutes here, but here's a quick wrap up. Basically, the mid chapter, there was nothing wrong with the perks. Nothing wrong with Dead Hard, there was nothing wrong with Spine Chill, there was nothing wrong with Corruptor Intervention, there was nothing wrong with Ruin. If it ain't broke, you don't fix it. The other perks like the Lethal Pursuer buff and Overcharge and all that stuff here, that was good stuff. There was nothing wrong with anything for that. Off the record didn't go far enough because it disabled, after a killer hits you once, basically it disables like Borrow Time did in the past. So essentially off the record is basically Borrow Time but much longer. That hasn't changed anything at all there. None of the perks have really changed anything in the match. They're different. That's it, really. Nothing's changed there. As I said, with skill-based matchmaking, your reward for getting good with a killer is sweat your matches. So then killers get frustrated and start tunneling camping. Which I still disagree with, but I can see why they tunnel camp because they get frustrated with skill-based matchmaking and they get frustrated with how survival-sided this game is. Here. And they start tunneling camping, which hurts them in the long run because that gives behaviour kill stats where it tells them that killer is balanced because it's getting more kills when that actually really would be if they didn't tunnel in camp. So that hurts them in the long run. Most of the chapter releases don't really benefit killer, so it is a bit of a surprise the last one did at all. But based on the reaction to it, you can see why behaviour doesn't really make any big changes to the base kit of this game. Because if behaviour did make big changes to the base kit of the game that actually made the game more balanced and more easier for killers, the survivor mains will throw the toys at the pram. Because all of a sudden things are harder and they can't pretend to be a pro gamer anymore. It's much more difficult for them now. It's frustrating. Anything would actually help help the killer side, survivors are just going to basically complain. Basically, and you're going to have a situation like right now, and I got totally outplayed there, but I don't know. But yeah, I think the reaction to the mid-chapter release from the survivor side of this community has shown why big changes to this game, the base kit of this game, just can't happen because they'll just complain. And the survivor side of the survivor main side of this community, the survivor side of this the Dead by Day community is much larger because you need 4 survivors to win killer, so it's always going to be much larger. So it's a much more I don't know how to put it. I don't know, my mind went blank there. Much more larger volume of people to complaints basically. Usually if you have a lot of people complaining, behaviour's going to listen in some way. You've seen it in the past. There was a thing in the past where survivors would disconnect against the killer and that killer would get nerfed. So it's basically anything that ever happens that actually will change the base kit of the game and actually make things tougher at the base kit level for survivors. The survivor mains are just going to complain, and therefore behaviour's stuck in a rut. They can't really do anything. Even if their desires is to actually do something to help out, they can't because survivor mains just won't allow it. They will just complain and throw their toys out the pram, and then eventually things get changed. Look at it right now. Now, admittedly, I feel like there was another patch after the mid-chapter release, and a lot of people were saying that they're already behaviour's already walking back in the mid-chapter release. I don't think that is true, actually. Personally, I don't think Metal Man's that good a perk anyway. I don't care too much about that. Phanophobia shouldn't have been buffed in the first place. It didn't need a buff, so I don't really care about the change to that happening. Although, admittedly, the change to Phanophobia they made basically still makes it too strong on Legion and Plague. So, it doesn't really make any sense, that. So, yeah. But to me, what that the patch that they did to the mid-chapter release shows is that behaviour are desperate. And I think they're desperate because they see the reaction from survivor mains. They know for a fact if they were to actually do anything to the base kit of this game, survivor mains will be up in arm, and they're their biggest customer base. That's just the sad fact, basically, of this game, and that's why I think Dead by Daylight is dead. Because it really needs something done at its base kit level. And what I mean is, it doesn't need perks changed. Yeah, you could basically cancel the mid-chapter release and you can do this, and I think it would make a bigger change, and that would be match styles. You could have one match style where they have to do 5 out of 7 gens, or you can have a match style where they can have to do 7 out of 9 gens, or you can have a match style with what I call an EBG, any blocks gens, where basically 4 gens are have all three. 4 gens only have one side open, so only one survivor can be on them. 3 other gens only 2 survivors can be on them because all the other sides are blocked. So there's 3 gens but only 2 survivors can do them, and there's 4 gens but only 1 survivor can do them. 4 gens, and that's it for the match. And you basically, it's random with the match where you load in, basically. So either you load into the match and you have to do 5 out of 7 gens, or you have to do 7 out of 9 gens, or there's a 50-50 chance where EBG is active in the match or not active in the match. That would change the base kit level there. It would give killers more of a chance to do well. But here's a problem here as well. On the killer side of Finn, you will still have killers who will camp in tunnel, because some people are just assholes and they think it's fun to ruin the game of survivors as well. So there's two sides. There's actually killers who do it out of frustration over this, the heavy survivor side of the game and skill-based matchmaking, and then you have killers who do it because they just think it's fun. And they're assholes basically as well. So it's a no-win situation for behaviour basically, and that's why I think the game is dead. Which sucks for me because I've put a lot of time into setting up my YouTube around Dead by Daylight, and I've come up with a lot of good series. Now, admittedly, I can't take full credit for a lot of the series. The Power Moves was based on Oxford's challenge. No Miver is a common thing that people do. And the combo series is basically something we all do, basically. Some people are content creators find there. But I've came up with a lot of different series. I've came up with different challenges. And I was excited about all this. I was excited about having more playable characters after the release, because you can see my video basically reacting to seeing the new prestige on the different characters I had. I was very excited about that. I really benefited a lot from it. But I wanted to sit and wait and see what the reaction was to the mid-chapter release. And as I suspected, the whole change in the perks didn't change anything. If anything, it proved that survivors basically won't allow any big changes in the game because they'll just throw the toys out the pram over it. Any big changes, and therefore behaviour's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Basically, their game really needs a shake-up in the base kit level with the match style, something like that. Something different to shake it up. That's what it really, really needs there, but survivors won't allow it to happen, and that's why I just think it's dead, this game. I'm not saying I'll never play the game. I do want to play the game again, and I want to be very much wrong about this game. But certainly at the moment, I'm going to delay the killer challenge for the moment, and we're going to see how the killer side progress over the time. We will keep the nightmare match that we played, and you will see that at some point. And hopefully this is just a spell that is going through. The game's going through right now, because that's going to spell, and hopefully things will improve and it'll level itself out. But I've got to be honest, it's not that I don't think behaviour's capable of making changes to the base kit of the game. It's that I don't think the survivor side of the community will accept any changes to the base kit of the game that doesn't benefit them. And that is why I think the game is dead, essentially. Anyway, it's been 20 minutes. Hopefully you'll still see this. It's currently Friday the 5th. August when I'm recording this, but for some reason the Notey news takes ages to process for my YouTube for some reason. I don't know why. So hopefully I can get this live today. If not, you'll obviously know if it's Friday or Saturday right now. There, anyway, but that's where my mindset is there. Regarding my YouTube going forward, it will be Ark Survivor Evolved. You might still see Survivor side though, Dead by Daylight, because obviously that's still fun. Yeah, the power moves and no mirror side is a lot of fun. So we might decide that, but when it comes to the killer side, it's just super frustrating right now. And it's super frustrating because I know based on the reaction to the mid-chapter release, but nothing is going to change basically there. And I knew coming into the mid-chapter release that this was a chapter that dead behaviour really needed nail, but they haven't. They have succeeded in changing the meta. They have succeeded in the goals they set out, but they set out on their own goals. It's not the meta they should have changed. It should have been the meta, the perks that it should have changed to shake up the meta. They should have changed the base kit of the game. That's what they should have done. But sadly, that happened. If it was to happen, survivors wouldn't accept it. Anyway, I'm repeating myself again. Anyway, usually I would say if you like this video and all this stuff here, but even I don't like this video, folks. So I'm not. I don't like putting this out here. But if you want to see future Ark Survivor content, then subscribe for future content. And until next time, folks, you take care.